Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Read TFOS, where I take stories I've narrated in the past and update them to modern audio standards. This particular story is called Offspring, written by LgFatherAnthrocite. Mankind had finally gone to space. Not just the moon or Mars, but space, beyond the heliosphere, deep space. They had developed FTL, travel, and soared out into the universe. After centuries, mankind was reaching out to find out if they were truly alone in the galaxy. They stopped at all the local spots: Alpha Centauri, Bernard Star, Wolf 359. There were planets and asteroid belts with microbes plenty. On a planet orbiting Ross 248, they found a wonderful low-gravity jungle world, where the trees were nearly 1,000 feet tall and the plants had leaves as big as houses. They flew ever farther into space. Desolate rocks, scrubby deserts, ice balls, and oceans. Every possible morphology of a planet was found. Plants and animals from the beautiful to the nightmarish were catalogued. Every planet within 1,000 light years of Earth was visited, explored, and indexed. Colonies sprung up on many. Some became vacation worlds where 1,000-foot-tall trees held zip lines and rappelling ropes. Others became mining outposts, providing the raw materials needed to expand mankind's foothold into the galaxy. Where once man had waged wars, now there was peace. There was no sense of fighting over land or resources, when the galaxy had hundreds of worlds waiting to be populated, and countless more waiting to be farmed or mined for gas or ore. FTL travel became trivially common, as did FTL communications. The introduction of auto factories and nanotech saw the end of scarcity in the Terran Alliance. Once a thing had been programmed into a computer, it could be replicated anywhere mankind traveled. Whole ships could be built atom by atom if necessary, using microscopic robots. Energy was abundant once planetary core tap technology was perfected. For thousands of years, mankind spread out across every system to learn, to harvest, to live. Science was able to truly advance, as niche fields were able to perform research without having to get a sponsorship from a college or government. Artists no longer had to struggle to make their art, as supplies and tools were readily and freely available. Culture explored ever-widening facets of human nature. It was a golden age for mankind. Art, entertainment, scientific discoveries, education were all available to anyone interested. But for all the advances that mankind had made, there was still something that was missing. Still, we were alone. Life abounded in the universe, but so far, none of it had been intelligent. Finally, we decided that we would raise up our oldest companions to join us as Sophons. We began to raise ever more intelligent breeds of animals, not just cats and dogs, but chimps and cephalopods. Others were attempted, but those four seemed to bear the most fruit. Octopuses were given the ability to survive out of water for longer periods of time, though they were clearly more comfortable in it. Many were excellent technicians, as their problem-solving abilities were only enhanced by genetic manipulations. Chimps became adept at many of the same things as humans, though they generally had a knack for the arts over sciences. Cats were excellent teachers, and many pursued philosophy. Dogs were, as always, the greatest accomplishment of mankind. Though they still walked on all fours, their front paws now ended in short fingers and a thumb. When sitting, they were able to manipulate things just like a human. They never really were good at any one thing. Like humans, they had a whole wide variety of interests. They also loved us. The dogs were constant companions to humans, unlike cats or chimps, who usually only went to space when they had to, or octos, who preferred it due to the resemblance of underwater environments. Dogs generally did what their pack did. Miners, artists, spacers, dogs did it all. Humans lived with octos, cats and dogs, and chimps as equals. With the advent of the offspring races, mankind changed. No longer was a family the basic unit of humanity. Now a collective of up to 5 species was the order of the day. Pack or clan, family or hunt, it didn't matter what you called it. Some were composed of only one of the offspring races. Cats and octos tended to form single-race collectives the majority of the time, while dogs and chimps tended to belong to mixed groups, although none were exclusionary. Humans happily cohabitated with all of the offspring races. On many of the more developed worlds, it was common to see homes built that had features such as in-house tanks for the octos, as well as ropes and platforms for the chimps and cats. Dogs, unsurprisingly, required no such adjustments to the home, but furniture became more interesting. The 5 races spread across even more of the galaxy. Everywhere they went together. The offspring races were masters of their own fates as much as humans were. They sometimes struck out on their own, always contributing their findings to the collective store of knowledge. When cats found a water world, they would let their octo friends know. When dogs discovered a jungle world, chimps were invited to emigrate. As time went on, the achievements of mankind dwindled. Soon, the 5 races were achieving great things. New fields of science were discovered, new forms of art made possible by new technologies. No one really noticed it when it started, but at some point, humans started to dwindle, not due to disease or war or any one particular reason. Over the course of thousands of years, their numbers fell. After spreading the 5 races across the entire galactic arm, the human race was dying out. One day, there was only a single human left, an elderly woman named Santha. She was close to 240 years old when she died. She was surrounded by her family. She'd gone to Earth when she turned 230, wanting to live out her days on the cradle planet of mankind. She had a clan that consisted of 3 dogs, 2 cats, an octo, and a chimp. They were themselves all over 100 years old. Shortly before she died, she called them all over and said, "I'm so proud to have had you as my family. My children, remember the history of my kind, the good and the bad. Remember that your differences make you stronger together than you will ever be apart. Remember that when we found no one amongst the stars, we pulled you along so that we would not be alone. Remember that, and if you ever find anyone out there, remember us to them and be their friends. It is terrible to be alone. And mankind has you all to thank for keeping us, being the company we so desperately needed. I love you all." Santha closed her eyes, and a short time later, and never opened them again. Nearly 2,000 years later, the 5 races made contact with the first intelligent life not from Earth. They resembled giant koalas with panda bear coloring. When introducing themselves, a dog, cat, chimp, and octo representative met with the Jalok envoy. They had sorted out the language barrier and made friendly contact, and the Jalok finally asked, "When will we meet a representative of the 5th race?" The dog ambassador replied, "We are all representatives of the 5th race, sir. They searched for others to share the galaxy with, and when they found no one, they raised us up to stand beside them. They are gone now, but each of us carries them in our hearts. They wished for us to deliver a message to you if we ever found you." "What is the message?" he asked the envoy. "You are not alone." End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Bushmaster 177, Henry the Red, Caspar Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragzoon WRE, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.